Hello and welcome to podcast number 2, Picture Perfect of Depression. My name is Marita and I'll be your host for tonight. Tonight, it's February 15th, 2026, 9:50 p.m. from Arizona. So I was going to do the podcast number 2 the day after I did the post podcast number 1, but I wanted to kind of see. You're going to be hearing my dogs in the background. As you can see, she's a wild one back there, okay? Um, Sorry about that, but I can't help it. Um, I wanted to see how many people watched that video. I only got 13 views, but 13 views is better than nothing. So I am gonna do something different today. I am gonna turn on a candle if if it allows me to. If it allows me to, and it's gonna allow me to because the last thing we want is negative energy to come and oh my god. Can't turn it on. There we go. Um, I want when you guys come to this video, I want you to feel safe here. I want you to know that no matter the time, no matter your energy, anger, depression, frustration, whatever it is, I want you to know that you are protected by the light. And any negative from anybody else that watches the video that throws shame, that throws judgment or whatever towards the video, it's gonna bounce right back to them. Okay. And I come with a wet shirt. This is what this is me being depressed right now. Okay. I come to you exactly how I feel. So judge me if you like, it'll bounce right back to you. So before I start, I want to take a deep breath. And I hope the universe, God, whoever you believe in, gives me the words to help myself and to help you guys along with myself. Okay. Today I do come with some notes. Okay. Because today is going to be about mental health. And I want to know that I'm a recovery support specialist. So I went to the University of Arizona to learn how to work with people with addictions, mental problems, and I want to make sure that everything I say is correct. And because I want you to know that your emotions that you're going through, if you feel like you're crazy, first of all, you're not crazy. What you're going through is completely normal. Second of all, it's okay to not be okay. You are all in your rights to not be okay. And don't allow anybody, nobody, I don't care if it's your wife, your husband, other kids, your aunts, your uncles, your parents, friends, don't let anybody tell you to get over it because you can't. Oh, bless me, sorry, because it's your children. And I think that's very selfish of people to tell you that. And that's like when people tell me that, I feel like just like, oh, just like, ooh, just like, why did I say anything in the first place? Okay. So, what happens to a parent when their child is still alive, but they are erased from their child's world? And the other question is, what happens to the brain? What happens to the brain, the nervous system, the identity when you are treated like you never existed? We are like, I guess, like a disposable parent, you know. Um, are we parents? Are we monsters? Do we exist or not exist in our children's life? You know, today we are not debating about custody. We are not pointing fingers. We are talking about the mental state of a parent who experiences parental alienation. Okay. First, we already last segment podcast number one, which is now or never. We talked about what parental alienation is. I will talk a little bit about it right now, real quick. I don't want to go too into this when I've already did it. Okay. Parental alienation is when one parent influences a child to reject, fear, or distance themselves from the other parent without legitimate justification. Um, it's something that's not really seen by courts right now. It's when whoever stays with the child puts that child against the other parent that they once had a good relationship with. Um, so let's talk about the psychological impact of the parent. Identity collapse. Let's talk about identity collapse. Yeah. When someone becomes a parent, it rewires their brain. Sorry. Research in attachment theory shows that parental bonding activates a deep emotional and neurological system. Now imagine that bond being severed. Your relationship, for instance, like I said at the beginning, I'm going to use my life as an example. I went from being a stay at home mom, being the only parent you could say, because their dad, all they did was work, having a wonderful relationship with my kids, from going from weekends, late night movies, snacks, playing with my children 24/7, being at their school, spending the day at their school, going to field trips, taking them to the doctors, going grocery. I mean, I did everything with my kids. Okay. To all of a sudden, just that's it. You're done. Cut. And you go to being with your children 24/7 to having 4 hours of visits twice a week. So honestly, two visits twice a week. So I had 4 hours total. Okay. The parent often experiences loss of identity. I sure did, and I'll explain how. Shame, very much. Deep confusion, questioning their worth. It feels like being alive at your own funeral. So, like I said, I was a stay at home mom for 17, 18 years. Um, I did absolutely everything with my children to not knowing who the hell I am. I got to the point to where I felt like I'm a monster. I still feel like I'm a monster. I feel like I'm worthless, like I don't deserve love. I don't deserve good things to happen to me. I don't. I feel confused. I'm damned if I do. I'm damned if I don't. I feel shame. I feel judged. I feel like people, including work, coworkers, employer, um, let's bring that up, like work. Um, it comes up, the conversation of, are you a parent? After a while is asked when you start working. Yes. How old are your children? Oh, well, they're this, and that. Um, will you be spending the holiday with what are you and your kids going to be doing? It comes to a point where you could only lie to a certain point at work about your kids. You're not having to leave early to pick them up. You could work weekends. You could work late nights. Um, you could do just about anything because you're free to do whatever you want. You have no kids. So the conversation does come up about being parental alienated and the reason why and how. Uh, I've been judged, humiliated, fired in the most humiliated way possible that you could think of. That also triggered me trauma. I feel I'm being judged every time I go to an interview. I'm being judged. They're judging me. They're already going to judge me before they even talk to me. They're judging me already. Like, why am I even going to go to an interview? they're gonna judge me already. They're gonna know that they're gonna think I'm a bad parent. They're gonna think I'm a monster. And then because of where I live, they're gonna think I'm this, like I lived in the ghetto. That's the only place I could afford at the time. And I was very judged because of it. Oh, I remember my ex-boss, calling me and telling me that I remember, I'm gonna tell you a little story. One morning, I woke up, got ready, was about to leave, and I noticed that I had a flat tire. I called my boss and I told my boss. He says, "Okay, I'm gonna send one of the project managers down to your house." Awesome. And he goes to the house and he fixes my tire, and I'm looking in my shed to see what stuff I could give him for his compressor and shit to pay him back for the favor. And that same day in the evening at 4:32, my boss had a habit of calling me every time at 4:32. As soon as he left, he would call me. And he says, so I had a conversation with Drew, which is the project manager. And he says that you don't live in a very nice area. I said, no, sir, I don't. And he says that they do a lot of drugs there. I say, yes, sir. And if you're driving home in the middle of the night at 2, 3 in the morning, yeah, you run into them walking in the street like zombies. He says, and then he went down the list of drugs and everything. And I'm like, okay, but what's your point? I said, am I being judged because of where I live? He said, no, we just have to hurry up and get you out of there. And I said, I'm on that. That's why I'm working hard, and I thank you for this opportunity to give me a job. From that day on, I noticed that everybody started to change with me at work. I was getting a little bit of work. Work wasn't being given to me. They were talking a lot about hiring the last coordinator they had before me. And I have this thing where I get a feeling and nobody could get that feeling out of me, no matter what it is. That's one thing I've noticed about being parental alienated is that my intuition's on point just about all the time. And I've had to learn to listen to my intuition because it's always speaking truths to me. So it got to the point to where I was so bored, I was playing with sticky notes. And I love working. I love what adult life is. I love the working. I love paying my bills. I love everything that comes with being an adult, being responsible. And it was, I got to the point to where I was playing with sticky notes. I was taking them apart, stacking them different. I was just doing different things with them. Um, they hired that lady. They sat her, I was like, my desk was like this, and hers was like that, right here on this side, to my right side. And she was always on her phone. She didn't have a computer. Supposedly she was waiting. And they hired her 2 weeks before they sold to a different company. And I don't know why my phone keeps doing that. I'm sorry. I put it on sounds off, but I guess it didn't work. But anyways, one day on January 12th, I found out that my son had my first grandson. I was notified by a relative of his at work. That day, it was really weird because that day we weren't working because there was no internet. And I think I took it quite well. I went to the blast room, to the room where they have all the samples and stuff, and uh, tears were crying. They were running out, but I wasn't like hysterical or anything like that. And I told one of my coworkers I was going to leave. I wasn't feeling good. And he called my boss and he told my boss actually walked all the way to the sample room. He never walked. Um, and said, what's going on? And I told him, at the time, it was only him, his wife, his daughter, and myself there. Uh, he told me, wait until at least 3. I said, okay. So I waited and I waited and I just sat there. There was nothing, I couldn't do anything because there was no computer, there was no internet. So I got to cleaning with Clorox wipes and stuff. And what happened was that I left at 3:30. At 4:32, I was outside of AutoZone. I went to buy oil for my car. My boss calls me and tells me that I need to choose between work and my personal life. That that I made everybody feel uncomfortable. I was like, "Excuse me, sir, but I don't know who's everybody because it was just you, your wife, and your daughter, and they nobody ever saw me crying." Um, he said, "Well, you made everybody feel uncomfortable." Still, I still didn't know what he was talking about. Excuse me. My baby wants arms. So, anyways, he says, "Well, you're gonna have to choose between work and your personal life because we can't have this at work." Which I thought was really weird because I think I took it quite well and I didn't go hysterical. Nobody saw, nobody knew. And I was like, okay, I'm sorry. So when I got home, I sat down and I did a video like this, like I'm doing right now. I used my podcast like a diary before, but I did a video where I sat there and I'm thinking out loud. Oh, sorry, my washer's on and here rattling. um, I did a podcast and I'm like, so my boss today told me at work, blah 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 blah. Nobody knew at the time where I worked or anything. So a week after, 3 days after I did that video, my boss called me into his office. What the fuck is this shit? And I said, excuse me. What the fuck is this shit? I didn't know what he was talking about. I don't know. I'm sorry, but I don't know what you're talking about. He goes, come over here. And I walked around the desk and he had my video. Um, I truly believe that that girl they hired her to find a video where I mentioned my boss, my job, and she sent it to corporate, to the new company that bought the small company. He threw his glasses at me. He cussed at me. In that moment, I turned around to walk out. He says, you walk the fuck out of this office and you don't fucking come back. Consider yourself gone. And I said, you have no rights to speak to me that way. And he says, well, why the fuck aren't you listening? And it just went, he just cussed me out, disrespected me. When I walked out of there, that girl and Drew had a smile on his face from ear to ear. And that girl did too. I went to my desk and I got my purse and I walked out of there and I got so sick. He triggered my PTSD, my anxiety to the point to where I was throwing up. I didn't sleep all night. I was crying and crying and crying. The next day I was supposed to go to work and I called him and I said, can we please talk over the phone? I can't, I'm not presentable to go to work. I'm sorry. I was yellow. My eyes were puffy. I was not presentable to go to work at all. He said, turn over the key. I begged that man to please not fire me. The way he fired me and for the reason he fired me was not justified to me. They made sure they started to judge me because of where I lived, which wasn't right. It was the only place I could afford. They titled me as an addict because of my CPS case. They judged me because of my past. Um, so that's one thing. Okay. Uh, I wanted to know. I got my identity was I I had to like unlearn everything my parents taught me and reteach myself because the government wasn't there for me. It wasn't the way my parents had said it was. It wasn't what I was taught. Nothing was. Um, I've gotten to the point to where I'm confused. Who am I? What am I? Like, am I mom? No, I'm not a mom. I'm not a mom because I haven't been a mom for 12 years. So who am I? I don't know. All I know is that I love the responsibility of having a house, of having bills, being an adult. I love working. I wish I could start my own company, but that part of mom is still there. Like when I go out with my friends, with my acquaintances, it's like I'm taking care of everybody. Like I want to go out and have some fun. And I can't because that motherly instinct of mine just starts. It gets triggered, and I'm taking care of everybody, making sure everybody's getting home safe, and being everybody's bodyguard. And I hate that. I hate it because I'm not their mom, but I stayed with so much. It's I'm a what you call it. I don't know what you would call me. I guess I take care of people. I feel people. I can read people. Um, I feel people's hurt. This parental alienation, this having my children legally wrongfully kidnapped for me, has really triggered something inside my brain to where I could read people. I could leave happy from here, or at least in a good mood. And I go into a building where there's a bunch of people, moody people or whatever, and I will literally absorb. I'm a sponge, and I hate that. I could handshake somebody or just look at somebody in the eyes. I could see their soul. Nobody could lie to me. It's really hard for somebody to lie to me and to uh, show me they don't that they're lying to me, or I know when somebody's gonna hurt me, and I literally stay around for that person to get to know me. That way, they won't want to hurt me. Give them a second opportunity from karma. In other words, I don't know, but there's just a lot about me that has really changed that all this has triggered. It's really opened my eyes. It's lifted the veil to all the lies about everything. And I became a very honest person. Um, Shame is there. I feel like a monster. I feel shame. Another thing is that, and I know this sounds bad to a lot of people, but I know I'm not the only one, but I probably the only one that will say it, just about. But I don't go to kid parties. I haven't been to a kid party in 12 years. I haven't been to a wedding in 12 years, birthday party in 12 years. I have not been anywhere where there's kids in 12 years. And I don't go and I don't have friends that have little kids because I don't want to know how your kid is doing in school. I'm sorry. I know it sounds selfish, but I don't want to know about your daughter's 15th birthday or birthday party, or I don't want to know about your Christmas with you and your family, Easter, Thanksgiving. I don't want to know. I don't care. I don't want to know. I'm glad you had a good time. I'm glad your children, your husband are doing good, but I don't want to know shit about it. I'm sorry because I wasn't with my kids when they went through those stages. And it could sound selfish of me, but it's what I feel. Okay. So my circle is like super, super, super small. I could say two friends maybe. Okay. Acquaintances that I hang out with. Um, complicated grief. Grief. How are you grieving? Your kids are still alive. My kids are still alive. And like I said in my last video, one lives half a second from me, another one a minute away from me, the other one, what, 10, 7, some minutes like that, and the other one, 10 minutes right here. But my babies are gone. My children are now 22, 22, 29, 27. My son will be 27. My daughter's 30. And my twins just turned 23. So, like, my babies, my children were 10, 10, 14, 16. And that's who I'm still waiting for at the bus stop, sitting on a rock. And it's not that I want to see them that way. It's just that's where my brain got traumatized. That's where I stayed. I didn't keep going. Time did not stop for me to heal, to how do you say it? And to digest everything that was happening. Okay, to know that this Christmas I was gonna spend it alone. My kids aren't. My kids, my children had to keep going forward. They had no choice. They had to stop loving mom, thinking about mom, because it was better for them. Every time I would go to my mother's house, like I said in my last video, I was had to leave by 5 on Christmas Eve because my ex-husband was going to get there. Um, I every time I would go spend it with my kids or something at my mom's house for a couple hours, she always had them like maids washing, folding their clothes, cleaning up. She could never see them sitting by me, giving me love. She always had to keep them away from me. And if they didn't, they would be grounded. So I got to a point to where I had to be the better person and I had to step back because I didn't want to see my kids getting grounded for loving me. I didn't want them to see that loving me was supposed to get them in trouble. And that's what my mom did. Okay. And grieving, I'm grieving the loss of my little children because they're gone. They're in the adult bodies, they're hidden under a lot of hurt, under a lot of lies, but they're not here. I don't have my kids. I can't see my kids. I can't talk to my kids. I can't be around my kids. It's like you're grieving. We grieve about everything. We grieve when we lose a boyfriend, when you cut your hair, you have a trauma, cut your hair wrong. You're grieving anything that causes you pain and you miss dearly. It's grieving. The difference between my grieving and a grieving of a parent that has wrongfully legal lost their kids is that um, they have closure. They go through the steps because we have no choice. They have no choice than to accept their child's not coming back. Our child is here, which is even worse because we have the opportunity to talk to my kids, but our kids don't want us. Not because they don't want us, because they were taught not to want us. You know what I mean? So, this is not a traditional grief. The child is alive. Psychologists call this ambiguous. I hope I'm pronouncing that properly. Loss, a concept developed by um, ambiguous loss, is one of the most psychologically distressing forms of loss because there is no closure. The parents cannot mourn properly. They cannot heal fully. They are stuck in an emotional limbo. Oh my God, that limbo. You have your highs, you have your lows. I could be perfectly fine right now. I could hear something or just my heart just all of a sudden just my chest just just like I don't even I'm not even thinking about my kids sometimes and all of a sudden my chest just feels like that pain, like somebody's gone, like it just hurts. It just hurts deeply and I just start crying. And it's not that I mean to think about my kids. It's just like I say sometimes I'm not even thinking about them, you know? And they just pop up and it just they don't even pop up. It just hurts. It just hurts out of the blue. Okay. Let me see. We have 5 more minutes. Chronic stress and trauma symptoms. Alienated parents often show signs similar to PTSD, anxiety disorders, depression, sleep disturbances, and hypervigilance. Sorry. Um, I hope I pronounced that properly. I have a really bad, I don't pronounce the words properly, okay? The nervous system remains on high alert. Every phone notification feels like hope. Every silence feels like rejection. So there's times where I'm in the back room and I'm by myself because I'm always by myself, or it's happened, or it's happened when I've had my a best friend at the time that was my best friend. Um, I literally hear in the voice of my children call me mom. I literally run to the kitchen and I'm looking out the window and there's nobody there. Every time something happened to my children at school, like their grandmas, or they were thinking about me, every single time I felt them. I heard them. It's crazy. Call it crazy, but I promise, I pinky promise. The anxiety, the hypervigilance, anxiety. There's times where I feel like my chest is closing, especially times where I say, I'm going to let them go. I can't keep doing this to myself. I can't keep doing this to them. I need to go. I don't want them to see their mother doing nothing. Like, I want my kids to be proud of me. I got to let them go. I want to be happy. I want to live life. I haven't lived life, and it's like, um, it causes my chest to, like, I feel like my chest is collapsing. I feel like I can't breathe. I have to go outside. I start sweating. I cry. There's times I've cried that I can't, like just really bad. I mean, really bad anxiety. Like, it causes anxiety. I have anxiety every time I go to interviews, um, anywhere where I'm being judged. Even the times where if I'm applying for a job and they send me to drop, I don't go. I I I don't go. I feel like I can't do this. Either they trust me or they don't, because I don't trust these places because of my case, and someday I'll sit down and tell you about it. But I don't trust them. Anything that has to do with anything like that, I don't trust it. I don't. Depression. I could go days without showering. Days. Why am I going to shower? Who's going to come and see me? I'm not going anywhere anyways. I'm too tired. My arms feel too heavy to scrub my body, to wash my hair. I just don't. I'm just too tired. My body is just too heavy to move. I don't get ready like I did before. Before, I always had makeup on, my hair done. Not no more. This is what you get. I just don't feel it. What is putting makeup on and stuff just to be home by yourself? Cleaning my house. Like, my house is it's a disaster or whatever, and I don't care. Who's gonna come over? Nobody. Why am I gonna clean it? Who's gonna see it? Me? I don't care. I've had bags and bags of garbages in my house that I was too tired to drop, to take to the bus. I mean, to take to the dump, to the garbage. Um, I have dirtied every single dish that I have, stacked like this of dishes in my sink, and I didn't want to wash them. I would wash whatever I would need. That's it. Uh, I just didn't care. I would walk. I had my hallway full of clothes. I'll show you a video one of these days. I have videos. I wanted to take videos of my house because I needed to see for myself how my house was. Um, I I don't go anywhere. I don't want to go anywhere. Like I said, I built my own prison. This is my prison. This is where I stay. This is my safe spot. I don't have to. I don't want to talk to anybody. I don't feel like laughing anymore. Like, at the beginning of all this happening, I was a tough cookie. I was not gonna let my mom see me depressed. I was be damned for her to see me depressed. I smiled with tears in my eyes. I smiled. I helped people. I always thought positive. Um, not no more. If I smile, I smile. If I don't, I don't feel like it. If I don't like you, I won't say hi to you. I won't be a hypocrite. I'm just very honest, drop dead honest person. And I believe that nothing was ever sugarcoated to me. Why am I going to sugarcoat it to anybody else? So, and we're going to stop right there. I'll finish up on the podcast number 3. I hope you guys come and join me and watch this one and the first one. Don't forget to give your girl a like and um, subscribe and share. If you like, don't forget to leave me a comment also. I would like to know a little bit what you're going through. If you have any questions, if I'm feeling or if I'm going through this or tell me your story. I want to know. I care. Okay. So this is podcast number 2 of um oh jeez. We're gonna have to talk about brain fog in the next one. Picture perfect of depression. You guys have a nice night. Be safe. And I was gonna put music. And don't forget, you're you're not alone. I'm with you.
I'm holding back a flood of tears, just thinking about those happy years, like all the good times that are no more. My love is gone, gone, gone forevermore. Silence so deep, only my soul can hear. It says now the past is what I feel. The future isn't what it used to be. Only today is all that's promised me. Flow on, river of time, wash away the pain and heal my mind. Flow on, river of time, carry me away and leave it all far behind. Flow on, river of time.
Thank you for being here and hope to see you next time. Have a good night. Blessings.